right now, for a lot of people, things are changing, right? And when things change, whether it's your schedule that changes or the way the light hits the earth changes or the colors that are in front of you change, it can be a sensory overwhelm, right? But instead of letting it overwhelm us, one of the things that we can do is acknowledge it and connect with it. And when we do, we will find that we're much more peaceful. So I think it's an ideal time this time of year to take a couple of minutes, and it doesn't have to be an hour-long hike. You can just take a nature walk. And by the way, you can do this with an individual who's on the spectrum, no matter what age they are, no matter what their capability is. Sometimes it means that you have to have more support with you or be mindful of certain things for safety. I remember when Jem was little, he couldn't just walk down the sidewalk with me. That was a really hard thing for him. So sometimes I needed a second person to make sure that he didn't elope and run into the street. So I'm mindful of that. But you can do it too. Just make sure, invite somebody to come with you and say, here's what I need you to do. But as you go on your nature walk, it's important to not have, like, we got to be back in 7 seconds, right? You don't have to have a schedule. But again, not to make it too long, because if you're not used to doing these kinds of things, it can seem overwhelming and it's easy to go too far. So set yourself a relative idea of maybe you want to take this amount of time so you don't feel pressured, whatever that is for you. That could be 10 minutes, that could be a half an hour, but make sure that when you set out on the walk that you're not feeling pressured, and take the time to let nature lead you where it needs to be, so that if you find yourself walking up to a tree and taking just a minute to look at the colors, it's okay. That's really what it's about. My son used to love grates. So we would walk down the street and he would see the first grate, and especially this time of year when it would start to have leaves in it, we could stand there for a half an hour. And there was a part of me that my heart would bleed, and I would stand there and I would start to feel like, oh no, my kid is obsessing over the drain, right? Because I wasn't accepting it. Until somebody taught me this trick of stand there and breathe and do all the other mindfulness things that I can, remember that we've done here on the show, and take a look at the leaves with him and to appreciate how beautiful it is. Even a dead leaf is absolutely a thing of wonder. And we walk by all the time and not notice these things. But now is a great time to take just a minute and look at it and go, that's really a miracle, that leaf, right? And when you take the time to appreciate it either yourself or with somebody who's on the autism spectrum, or with somebody that you care about that isn't on the autism spectrum, it slows everything down. You acknowledge that there's nature. My son and I used to collect things and put them in our pockets, whether it was those little spiky ball things or pine cones or whatever it was. And he taught me about looking at it, because he would just look at it and see it for what it was. What a fabulous thing. If more of us would take the time to sit and look at whether it's a dandelion, a blade of grass, whatever it is, and notice that it's there, that it's a miracle that it's in existence, that all of the things that took for that blade of grass to be alive and to be here, and what makes it green, and all the scientific things that we can think of that had to happen for that blade of grass to be there, it's a miracle. And if you can center yourself into that and breathe a little bit, you find yourself really being present. And it's a happy, joyful thing. Again, doesn't have to be an hour, but I think if you'll go and devote 10 minutes to it, you'll find, hey, this is a fun thing and maybe we need to do this more often. Well, there's no better time to do it than in the fall as things are changing. And I think you'll find that it helps you to deal with all the other things that are changing too, that the schedule is changing, that the light is changing, our day is changing, because we're winding towards the end of the year. And we're winding towards, it's not really fall yet, but it will be in a week. We're winding towards winter. It's the evolution of the seasons. we can be in harmony with it instead of feeling that, I know so many of us have been talking about, oh, it's school and it's just like different. It's new. I don't know. I don't like anything I want to eat. Because things are changing. So take a nature walk, have that mindfulness moment, get present, and it'll be a wonderful thing.